Today, we begin with an examination of 7 locations purported to be haunted, arranged in order of escalating paranormal intensity. Our first location is the Amber Beacon Tower in Singapore. Situated within a recreational area known as East Coast Park, the tower is associated with the following incident. In 1990, a 21-year-old woman named Kelly Tan Ah Hong and her 22-year-old boyfriend, James Fu, were visiting the park at night. They ascended the Amber Beacon Tower, a public structure with a spiral staircase offering views of the area. While the couple was sitting on the steps, they were approached by 2 men who, after initially passing, returned and attacked them with knives. James attempted to fight back, but was injured. After the assault, the 2 attackers fled. Both Kelly and James were severely wounded and sought help. While James survived his injuries, which included a stab wound to the back, Kelly's wounds to her neck proved fatal, and she died from extensive blood loss. The perpetrators were never identified. Since this event, the Amber Beacon Tower has been considered haunted, with reports of a female apparition seen wandering the area, believed to be the spirit of Kelly.
The second location is the Princess Theatre in Melbourne, Australia. This historic opera house is famously associated with a resident ghost. The story originates in 1888 with an opera singer named Federici, who was performing in a production of Faust. To provide context, the opera Faust involves 3 primary characters: an elderly scholar named Faust, a demon known as Mephistopheles, and a young woman named Marguerite. Faust, deeply dissatisfied with his life, makes a pact with the demon to be made young again in exchange for his soul. Subsequently, the rejuvenated Faust meets and falls in love with Marguerite. The story concludes with Marguerite being saved by angels while Faust is dragged to hell by the demon. On that particular night, Federici was portraying the demon, Mephistopheles. In the final scene, his character's descent into hell was enacted using a trapdoor on the stage that lowered him and the actor playing Faust. As Federici was being lowered beneath the stage, he suffered a fatal heart attack. Consequently, he was unable to join the other performers for the final curtain call. However, several audience members later claimed they saw Federici on stage with the cast taking a bow. This appearance is believed to have been his ghost. Since that day, the Princess Theatre has been known for sightings of a male apparition, widely presumed to be the spirit of Federici.
Our third location is the Highland Towers in Malaysia. These were residential buildings situated in the Taman Hillview Township in Selangor, Malaysia. Constructed between 1974 and 1982, the development consisted of 3 apartment buildings, known as Block 1, Block 2, and Block 3. Due to their location at the base of a hill, a retaining wall was built behind them for support. Above the hill, a section of forest was later cleared for a new development project. This deforestation left the topsoil exposed. In the period that followed, the area experienced prolonged and heavy rainfall. The combination of wind and rain led to severe soil erosion, washing large amounts of earth down the slope. On December 11, 1993, this erosion triggered a landslide that caused the retaining wall to fail. Subsequently, residents inside Block 1 began to observe cracks forming on the structure's walls. As these fissures grew, many chose to evacuate. Shortly thereafter, the building began to tilt before it catastrophically collapsed. The collapse was attributed to the soil erosion and an unstable foundation. In the rescue operation that followed, 2 survivors were pulled from the rubble, while the remains of 48 victims were recovered. Fearing a similar fate, residents of the remaining Block 2 and Block 3 completely abandoned the properties. Today, these 2 towers stand derelict and are rumored to be haunted by the ghosts of those who perished in the disaster.
The fourth location is the Jeruk Purut Cemetery in Jakarta, Indonesia. This cemetery is the site of a well-known haunting connected to the following account. One night, a caretaker cleaning the grounds noticed a moving shadow. When he turned, he reportedly saw a headless apparition carrying its own head in its hands. The spirit seemed to be searching for something and was followed by a large black dog. This figure has become known as the ghost of the headless pastor. While his true origins are unknown, local lore suggests that the pastor is searching for his own grave. It is believed, however, that his grave is actually located in another cemetery. For this reason, his spirit is said to wander Jeruk, Purut endlessly, unable to find its final resting place. While other apparitions have reportedly been seen in the cemetery, none are as famous as the headless pastor. It is also said that one should not enter the cemetery alone, but rather in an odd-numbered group for reasons that remain unclear. The legend of Jeruk Purut Cemetery later inspired an Indonesian horror film, which shares its name and is based on the story of the headless pastor. The film's release significantly increased public awareness of the cemetery and its associated folklore.
Our fifth location is Poveglia Island in Italy. This small island, situated in the Venetian lagoon, possesses a dark history that has cemented its reputation as being intensely haunted. In 1793, the island was utilized as a maritime checkpoint. When plague victims were discovered aboard arriving ships, a quarantine station, or lazaretto, was constructed there. Infected individuals were brought to Poveglia, where the vast majority succumbed to the disease. Mass grave pits were dug across the island, and the bodies of the victims were disposed of by being burned. Later, in 1922, a mental asylum was built on the island. According to local legend, the patients there were subjected to cruel treatment, with reports alleging that doctors performed torturous experiments on them. In its later years, the island was briefly used as a nursing home and then for agriculture before being completely abandoned. The derelict hospital buildings remain to this day, and the island is known to be filled with pits containing a vast number of human skeletons. It is estimated that the island holds the remains of 100,000 to 160,000 individuals, the majority of whom were victims of the plague. Consequently, Poveglia Island is believed to be haunted by the spirits of the plague victims, as well as those of the tormented mental patients.
The sixth location is the Oyambuchi Bridge in Japan's Yamanashi Prefecture. A horrific event is said to have occurred here in the 1570s, involving the Takeda clan. The clan's wealth was derived from a local gold mine for which they employed numerous miners. To entertain these workers, the Takeda also hired courtesans. This period of prosperity ended in 1575 when the Takeda clan suffered a devastating military defeat, forcing them to abandon their territory. Unwilling to let their gold mine fall into enemy hands, they devised a plan to eliminate all individuals with knowledge of its location. This included the courtesans who had associated with the miners. On an appointed day, at a suspension bridge built over a deep gorge, a soldier instructed all 55 courtesans to gather on the bridge to dance and sing. As they performed, the soldier severed the bridge's ropes. The structure collapsed, plunging all of the women into the rocky stream below. Some were killed instantly upon impact, while others were carried away by the swift current. Today, a modern bridge named Oyambuchi occupies the site. According to local legend, the spirits of the courtesans linger in the area, attempting to pull visitors from the bridge to their deaths below.
Our seventh and final location is Leap Castle in Ireland. Constructed sometime between the 13th and 15th centuries, the castle has been home to numerous families throughout its history. However, the most terrifying events are attributed to the time when the castle was occupied by the O'Carroll clan. The O'Carroll clan's residency is particularly significant, and I have placed this location last because it is reportedly home to 5 distinct entities, each with its own story. The first is the spirit of a priest. This man was a member of the O'Carroll family. While he was conducting mass, his own brother, motivated by a dispute over inheritance, ran him through with a sword. The priest died on the altar of the family chapel. The room where this occurred is now known as the Bloody Chapel in memory of the event. The second apparition is that of a woman known as the Red Lady. She was reportedly captured and held prisoner by the O'Carrolls. During her captivity, she was assaulted and became pregnant. Immediately after she gave birth, her child was murdered by the O'Carrolls. Overcome with grief, she then took her own life. Her ghost is said to appear as a figure in a red dress, perpetually holding a dagger. The third haunting involves the spirits of prisoners. The castle contains an oubliette, a dungeon chamber with a floor lined with wooden spikes. Prisoners were cast into this pit and left to die of starvation. The ghosts of these unfortunate individuals are said to still linger in that area. The fourth entity is known as the elemental. This is a spirit described as being non-human. Its presence is linked to a later resident named Mildred Darby, a novelist who wrote Gothic horror stories and was deeply interested in the occult and black magic. It is believed that her practices awakened the elemental. Darby herself claimed to have encountered the entity, describing it as a creature with black holes for eyes and a shape unlike anything human. She also described the entity as having the smell of a decomposing corpse. The fifth and final haunting concerns the ghosts of two young girls named Emily and Charlotte. Both are said to have died within Leap Castle. According to her story, Emily was playing on the castle battlements when she accidentally slipped and fell to her death. Subsequently, her apparition has been seen atop the walls where it is said to reenact the moment of her fatal fall. The exact cause of Charlotte's death is unclear. Her spirit, however, is described as dragging itself along the ground while clutching one leg, suggesting she may have perished from a traumatic leg injury. These are the 5 primary entities that one might reportedly encounter at Leap Castle. And those were the 7 locations purported to be haunted. If you happen to be watching this video at night, I hope you are still able to sleep. For now, goodbye.